The following broadcast is a Universal Citizen media production and is not a Galactic Historian product. The facts and circumstances of this broadcast has been taken from hundreds of accounts of demonic possessions and exorcisms being performed. We at Universal Citizen Media strive for authenticity and have stuck true to the narrative of these accounts. Let he who is of strong heart seize, savor, and learn from this broadcast, and may the profane fall away, as even in the midst of a flood the fool remains thirsty.
The Reckoning of Felicity. Chapter 4. The Fall from Grace. In the early twilight of a seemingly enchanted day, Felicity stood at the precipice of her former self. Her appearance had taken a turn for the worse. She had long become indifferent to the way she looked. Her hair turned matted, and her skin had become gray and ashen. The comforting hum of Exorcitus, which had once been a gentle guide in her life, now reverberated with a dissonant, foreboding tone. No longer the benevolent force that had lifted her spirit, Exorcitus had become a spectral puppeteer, pulling the strings of fate with a ruthless hand. The once luminous energy that saturated her existence had turned murky, twisting into a relentless tide that threatened to drown her in sorrow. Shadows wove themselves into the corners of her mind, and dark secrets began to surface at the boundary of every memory. Late one stormy evening, as rain battered the aged windows of her ancestral home, Felicity sensed the first unmistakable signs of this transformation. A soft whisper, a fleeting chill, and the echo of old incantations coalesced into a moment of profound disorientation. The boundaries between reality and the supernatural blurred, leaving her questioning every decision that had led her down this treacherous path. In this moment, Exorcitus revealed its true, distorted nature. A power that fed on despair and mutual betrayal, turning every tender hope into a distant, painful recollection. At first, Felicity tried to cling to the warmth of old relationships. Her closest confidants, who had once been unwavering pillars of support, suddenly seemed distant, almost alien, as if touched by an unseen malign influence. In bustling gatherings filled with laughter, her smiles felt increasingly forced, and the words exchanged carried a weight of unspoken accusations. Conversations that once sparked joy had now become battlegrounds of misunderstanding and hurt feelings. The nurturing voice of Exorcitus, once a beacon in the darkness, had sown seeds of discord that fractured the strongest of bonds. In one heart-wrenching encounter, Felicity found herself locked in a bitter debate with her childhood friend Marianne about old promises and broken trust. Marianne's eyes, once filled with unconditional warmth, now shone with a cold severity that left Felicity reeling. The supernatural energy that pulsed subtly around them had invaded this intimate space, twisting memories of shared laughter into bitter reminders of betrayal. Each word exchange seemed to widen an ever-growing chasm between them, heralding the collapse of a lifelong connection. In the aftermath of shattered bonds, Felicity's world began to contract. The once inviting corridors of her home turned labyrinthine and oppressive. She wandered through rooms that echoed with the ghosts of happier times, the silence punctuated by the relentless hum of Exorcitus, now sounding more like a mournful dirge. Solitude, which had been a welcome friend in moments of introspection, transformed into a scorching isolation that stripped away any remnants of joy. She retreated into herself, shrugged of any dignity of personal appearance and hygiene, each day blurring into a struggle against the encroaching darkness. During long nights, Felicity would sit by a window, watching as the storm outside matched the tempest within. The supernatural force that once provided solace now cut through her like a cold blade, intensifying all of her insecurities and regrets. The memories of tender care and support were overshadowed by the harsh clarity of betrayal. Felicity felt as though the very air around her cracked with the sound of lost hope, and every step left an indelible mark on a soul already marred by desolation. Haunted by dreams of a time when Exercitus was a benevolent guardian, Felicity embarked on a perilous quest to reclaim her identity. Amid eerie landscapes and spectral figures, she revisited the sacred spaces of her past. In the abandoned chapel where she had once prayed with fervor, the overwhelming sorrow of neglect met her. The stained glass windows, which had once radiated divine light, were now shattered remnants reflecting hues of despair and guilt. During one particularly vivid encounter, Felicity came face to face with a spectral projection of her former self. This apparition, draped in garments tinted with memories of lost love and hope, spoke with a voice both familiar and painfully distant. It chastised her for the decisions that had betrayed a once harmonious union between her and Exercitus. As the ghostly figure receded into the darkness, Felicity's inner conflict deepened. With every revelation, she began to comprehend that the corruption of Exercitus was not an external force at all, but a mirror reflecting her own deepest fears and indulgences. The supernatural realm had long been a silent observer of Felicity's transformation, but now it roared to life with ferocity. Apparitions danced like unpredictable flames in the margins of her vision, each one an omen of the impending duel between destiny and despair. The very fabric of time and space seemed to warp, as if the universe itself trembled at the onset of her unraveling tale. In a surreal confrontation beneath an ancient oak, Felicity was ambushed by transient shadows that evoked the torment of her fractured relationships. Their cold, sprawling energies sought to sap her will, leaving her defenseless in the wake of Exercitus' consuming influence. A ghastly assembly of figures emerged from the swirling mists, faces of those who had once embraced her, now contorted by the influence of supernatural malevolence. The air crackled with electricity and the scent of ozone, as if nature itself was mourning the fall of a once bright soul. The battle was not one of physical blows, but of raw emotion and spiritual conflict. Every whispered incantation, every tear shed in solitude, resonated with the deep undercurrents of both pain and resilience. As Felicity fought back with a stubborn, desperate resolve, it became evident that resistance was both her salvation and her damnation. In the gloom of her inner sanctum, Felicity found herself confronting the full measure of her choices. Every whispered secret, every forsaken promise, converged into a symphony of regret that played upon her heart like a mournful dirge. In the solitude of her thoughts, she realized that Exercitus, for all its supernatural allure, was a force of duality, capable of fostering hope only to morph it into an agent of ruin. The dual nature of this enigmatic power forced her to question not only the source of her strength, but the responsibility she bore for the ensuing devastation. The isolation that had once shielded her now imprisoned her in a prison of remorse. Each echo in the empty halls became a reminder of a love turned sour and a promise betrayed. Felicity's struggle to reconcile with this devastating truth was brutal and unyielding. Amid the oppressive quiet, the sound of her own heartbeat served as a stark reminder that her battle was as much internal as it was waged against the spectral forces amassed in the shadows. It was a war for her spirit, waged on both visible and invisible battlefields, where victory seemed as elusive as salvation. Yet, even in the midst of overwhelming despair, there remained a flicker of defiance within Felicity. The transformation of Exercitus had not entirely extinguished the fire of resolve that had once defined her. In narrow moments of clarity, she summoned memories of a time when light had banished darkness and when friendship and love had thrived. These memories acted as a counterforce to the pervasive gloom, offering glimmers of strength to challenge the monstrous corruption that had invaded her life. In clandestine meetings with those few who had managed to resist the pull of Exercitus's descent, Felicity began to find solace in shared pain and mutual understanding. Together, they recounted the moments of intense connection that dotted the tapestry of her past, weaving together fragments of hope that even the darkest night could not erase. With every act of quiet rebellion, every tender word spoken in defiance of the sinister chance that haunted her, Felicity edged closer to reclaiming some semblance of her former self. As the supernatural forces intensified, the line between reality and nightmare blurred irreversibly. Felicity's existence came to embody the convergence of both worlds, where grief and ecstasy, love and loathing coexisted in a tumultuous dance. The environment around her metamorphosed into a reflection of her internal state, a paradoxical realm where each step forward was accompanied by the simultaneous erosion of what was once known and dear. The oppressive presence of Exorcitus seeped into every facet of her world: the bustling streets of the town, the intimate shrines of her memories, and the unseen spaces between heartbeats. Desperation and determination warred within her as Felicity navigated these treacherous terrains. Each encounter with spectral relics of her past became a lesson in the fragility of human connections and the relentless force of corrupted power. The transformation of Exorcitus had left her with an enduring sense of isolation, yet in that isolation lay the potential for introspection, a painful but necessary journey toward understanding the true nature of strength and vulnerability. Her struggle was both a solitary odyssey and a testament to the innate resilience of the soul when confronted with the inescapable fall from grace. As twilight gave way to the inky shroud of night, the journey of a once luminous spirit continued unabated. Felicity, marred by grief and haunted by spectral echoes, found herself locked in a battle against forces both external and innately personal. The labyrinth of loss and despair stretched before her, with each step into darkness beckoning the possibility of an uncertain but fiercely sought-after redemption. In the wake of all that had transpired, Felicity's heart bore witness to a haunting solitude, a silence punctuated by the spectral murmurs of Exorcitus. Her inner sanctum became a secondary world where the past was relentless and the future precarious. Amid eerie glows and trembling sentiments, fragments of her once unified existence clung desperately to life, even as the forces of corruption relentlessly conspired to obliterate them. The cathedral of her memories, once a sanctuary of joy, now lay in ruins, overrun by the invasive tendrils of a malevolent force. Yet, in the quiet moments of introspection, there remained an echo of hope, a distant, indistinct promise that even in the midst of ruin, the seeds of recovery could be sown. Felicity's arduous journey through the labyrinth of darkness was far from over, her spirit caught in the turbulent interplay between a fading light and an emerging void. With each agonizing heartbeat and every trembling step forward, the fall from grace became a testament to the paradox at the heart of her existence. That in the deepest depths of despair, the subtlest spark of rebellion could ignite the possibility of rebirth.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen.
Limb from limb, piece by piece, until there's nothing left. I will fucking destroy you.
Hey guys, this is David Hurd, just letting you guys know that we've completed 2 online stores for your convenience and for your budget. The first is our software store, which is at shop.onexa.com, We've grouped all the AI tools that we've created, including a tool that will allow you to actually create employees for your business. The second is the shop.arsessentia.org store, where you can buy merchandise as well as self-improvement courses for yourself. These courses are internationally accredited by world bodies such as the Yoga Alliance, the International Association of Counselors and Therapists, and so on. Yeah, guys, so just check out our store and let us know what you think. And remember, if there's anything that you don't see in the store, we can absolutely custom build these tools for you. So if your business has a specific absolute requirement, we can build stuff for you from scratch. Okay? Check out our store, guys, and let us know what you think. Take care.